There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Cameron Chronicles. I am your host, Max Rego. We are joined today by Chronicle sports editor Jake Piazza and Chronicle features editor Alex Jackson. Thanks for hopping on the show, guys.
As always, happy to be here, Max.
All right, so we're recording this on a Tuesday night, just a day away from Duke's ACC opener against Virginia Tech. We will talk that matchup later, obviously, a little towards the end of the show. But first, let's get to some I wanted to do kind of this over/under type thing with ACC play. Obviously, the rest of the season for Duke. So, you guys want to do some over/unders?
Let's get it, man.
All right. Well, we'll start off with we'll go Jake first, then Alex, and then I'll finish off. So, first one, since there's 20 games, we'll do 16.5 ACC wins for Duke. Jake, over or under?
That one I go over. That one I didn't need to think too much about, just because a combo of the ACC being what it is this year with a weaker spread and how good this Duke team is. I think they go over that. So I don't necessarily think I don't think they're going to go undefeated or anything like the 98-99 team in their regular season. But do you want me to go through and give you my losses, Max? I have a game by game, or do you just want the over?
Just go with the losses. What are the losses that you have?
All right, so I have them. I think they drop the home game to NC State with Darian Sebron and everything he's doing this year and the way he can attack the rim with his frame. And then I think they drop 2 on the road, 1 to Carolina and 1 to Syracuse.
Interesting. Alex?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the over 2 here. Just the current state of the ACC is really not giving me any worries about that. I don't have any losses in mind. I do. I mean, I know we're about to get to this in a second, but I think losing to UNC is a real chance this year, even if they're not as good as in past years. And then I also think that, like, this Wake Forest team is building some momentum and could be a little bit challenging for Duke. I agree with everything Jake said. I don't necessarily think they go undefeated.
Yeah, even though I'm probably going to sound like a broken record here compared to you two, I'm going to go over. I'm not going to say, one of the reasons I did this is because I'm a huge PTI fan, and they do a lot of these over-unders, and one of the better ones of all time was when they did over-under 14 wins for the Patriots in a single season. And Skip Bayless said way over. He said they would go 16-0. So I'm not going to say that they're going to go undefeated. I think they're going to go over. I think they'll probably go 17-3, 18-2. My losses, I'm thinking the UNC road game is tough. I mean, that's going to be a really hard one. UNC, they're not great. They're kind of just rounding into form, but I think they'll probably be the second best ACC team throughout the season. And I'm thinking the Virginia game might be a tough one. Virginia's just going to slow it down. They're not a dominant Virginia team like they have been, but I do think that's going to be still a tough game. So I'm thinking 18-2. And I don't want to say they're going to go undefeated. I've seen some people say that Duke needs to go undefeated to get a number 1 seed, which I can't. That's impossible. That's ridiculous in my opinion. But let's go to the next one. So, in terms of home losses, do you guys think over or under 0.5 for ACC play?
I'm going over on that too, just because I think that NC State game is going to be a home loss with how well the Wolfpack have been playing, and I just think something about NC State and Duke games, not obviously at the level of like a Carolina Duke game, but that in-state rivalry always lends to closer and weird games, probably much more closer than it should be. But I do think the Wolfpack takes that one from Duke, so I'll go over half.
For me, I'm going to go under. I think they don't lose at home this season. I certainly think it's possible. But I just think that those losses are probably going to come on the road. We saw the way they played in the Ohio State game, and we know that the effect that home fans have for the Duke team, like after seeing it last year without, just it brings too much. I think it's too overwhelming for opponents to come into Cameron.
I agree with you, Alex. I'm gonna go under. I just don't see any games on the schedule that Duke is capable of losing. Honestly, probably the toughest home game, because I don't see them losing the UNC home game. I think that's like pie in the sky. They would lose that game just because of the situation. But honestly, probably the toughest home game might be tomorrow night against Virginia Tech. And I think Duke clearly has an advantage inside with Banchero and Williams. I know Kibi Alumas is a really good player, but I don't think they're going to lose a home game. I think they're going to go 17-3, 18-2 with all those losses being on the road. I think we kind of gave this one away maybe, but the next one is wins over UNC. This is not including whether they play in the ACC tournament. 1.5, over or under?
I got to go under because I think that first game, for you guys already talked about how big of a deal the fact that the first game's on the road is going to be, and I'll go to the rebounding side of it. That has probably been the one weak point in this Duke team is particularly the defensive rebounding, and Carolina is really good at rebounding like they are every year. So I think the combo of the road atmosphere and the fact that Carolina continues to dominate on the boards is going to be the reason that Duke drops that first game against the Tar Heels.
Yeah, I'm going to go with under as well here. I just think that this is their most likely loss, and just having them go on the road first, like you said, it's just going to be too much of a challenge. I don't think that Duke would ever lose to them twice in the season, but especially this year, it's just I think the road challenge for Duke is really going to come out when they play UNC.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're all kind of agreeing on a lot of this, but I think sweeping UNC is always a tall task for a young team, and I do think UNC. I mean, they've shown that they haven't been really able to beat a lot of good teams so far. I mean, their best win is Michigan, and Michigan hasn't played at the level that a lot of people expected. But Purdue, Tennessee, and Kentucky Saturday was a total shellacking. But I do think that's going to be a tough one for Duke. Caleb loves improving, and he killed Duke's backcourt last year. And R.J. Davis has been improving. Baycott is showing a little more of an NBA skill set. So I think just the season sweep over UNC is always asking a lot, and the safe bet I think is the under. But I do think it's possible they play in the ACC tournament again. I think these are the two best teams in the ACC, and I think there's a pretty big gap between Duke and UNC, but I think it's very possible they end up playing in the tournament final. So next one is kind of more of a fun one. He already had one triple-double against Army. We're obviously talking about Wendell Moore, Duke's best player, or maybe not Duke's most talented player, but Duke's most important player, I should say. 0.5 Wendell Moore triple-doubles the rest of the regular season.
Alex, you take this one first. I want to hear what you got.
I'm going with the over for sure. I think that he's just going to – his level of talent and usage against this weaker schedule that Duke's going to face, he'll just rise above, I feel like. My one concern for the over in that sense is I feel like Duke's going to end up in a lot of games where they're probably going to be handling their opponents. So I think that they might pull the starters out, or his minutes he may not have the minutes to pull up or to be put in a lot of opportunities for triple doubles. But I think that just that they're going to call on him a lot in the closer, tighter games, and he's going to be that guy all season. So a triple-double is certainly in his range.
I think I'm going to have to go under here, and I really don't think – and that's like nothing like knocking Wendell Moore at all. He's got video game numbers. I think he's going to continue to have video game numbers. But I'm more so thinking that the under is going to be kind of the better possibility here because Roach has been playing so well. So I think the assist category in particular is going to kind of get divided more so between those two. And then especially when you have Keels continuing to get more and more comfortable at college basketball, I just think they have such good passers on this team that there's not really going to be like a guy that is just able to soak up 10 plus assists in a night. So I'm going to say under, but really not for any negative reasons. I think those, 26 and 5 stat lines are going to continue all year long.
I'm gonna agree with you, Jake. I think it has nothing to do with Wendell, but triple doubles are so rare in college basketball just because it's 40 minutes versus 48 in the NBA. There's a reason why there are so many more triple doubles in the NBA. The pace is faster. There are just more opportunities to pile up a lot of stats. But I'm going to go under, and I don't think it has anything to do with Wendell. I think he'll get close. He's going to be on triple-double watch a lot. I just think he's probably, Duke still is not using him as the primary point guard. They don't have a primary point guard. It's him, Keels, Roach, Paolo brings it up. Jalen Blakes, when he's in the game, brings it up. They just have a bunch of guys who can handle it, and they get into their sets really quickly. And I don't think Wendell. I don't think he seems like he doesn't really care about his numbers. He does, he puts up those numbers because it really helps the team. But he seems like a pretty unselfish player. He doesn't seem like even his one triple double. Like again, I didn't really notice. I knew he was putting up great stats, but it didn't look like he was going after a triple double or anything like that. So I'm just going to go under. I think it's tough. There's only been, I believe, 5 triple doubles in the history of the program. R.J. Barrett being the last one before Wendell. Wendell accounting for 33% of them after the season seems like a really weird, seems almost impossible. So I'm going to go under there.
I will say that I foresee it happening in a road game where some of the younger guys struggle and maybe the game goes to overtime. There's extra minutes where the ball is really just in Wendell's hands.
Are you calling your shot, Alex?
He can pick up those assists. I have no idea. Not a game off the top of my head. But I think it'll probably be one of those games where they need more senior leadership. So yeah.
All right, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I respect that one. Last one, we obviously are making this a little shorter today, since we're all on break and we all have a lot of other Chronicle stuff to get done. So last one, this is somewhat of a Duke related one, but some kind of not. 4.5, the number of ACC teams that make the NCAA tournament, over or under?
I still think over for this. I don't think I think the ACC does have some maybe issues this year in terms of strength of conference, but I was kind of riding things out, and you have Duke gonna make it. I think maybe we've overreacted a bit on Carolina. I think they're still very much a good team and gonna make the tournament. I think the same could be said about Virginia Tech. I think those three are definitely gonna make the tournament, especially with the experience of this Virginia Tech team. And then at that point, I know you had said it at 4.5, Max. I think between Wake, NC State, Florida State, and Virginia, I think we're going to at least get 2 of those 4 teams in when I'm just looking at the way they've played this year. Again, it's not spectacular, but I still think you're playing in the ACC. You're playing against great coaching and great players every week. So I think the committee will respect a respectable ACC record still, and I think we're going to see 5 to 6 ACC teams in the tournament.
Yeah, I agree with the over there, but I don't think it'll be 6. I'm going to go with 5 for just cutting that edge there. I was so tempted to go under here and say 4, but I do think what Jake just said is probably right, that there is enough talent, and if you look at the grand scheme of college basketball, It would be hard to keep just 4 in the tournament. I think really you need 5 from the ACC there, at least.
Yeah, it's just like a math game. There's not enough at-large bids for other conferences to pick up that the ACC is just going to get shut out. Duke is. The locks are Duke. UNC, I think, is pretty much they're going to get enough wins in conference play to get in. I think Virginia Tech is going to be in. I think Florida State is going to get in. So those are 4 that I think are pretty safe to say by the end of the year they'll be in the tournament. And I think Wake Forest, Virginia, who knows whether Syracuse gets it together. One of those 3, maybe 4 teams, if you want to add like a Notre Dame, they have the potential to get hot. A team like that, or Louisville, one of those 5 teams that I just listed, one of those has to at least get a little hot near the end of the season and break in as a bubble team. So that's the 5, and I think it's probably just going to be about 5, maybe 6. So that's kind of the ACC's cap this year. It's not as down as it was last year, but this year still. They still have some issues, and Duke doesn't have a ton of quality win opportunities over the next couple months. So they really need to maximize some of the road opportunities they have against Carolina, Virginia, Florida State. So that's all. Those are the first 5 that we had. We wanted to make this one pretty short. So we're obviously neither of us 3 will be live from Cameron Indoor tomorrow night. But we've got Nissen and Joe, I believe, right, Jake?
You got it. They'll be there. Yep.
They will be there tomorrow night for the late night tip against Virginia Tech. Obviously, first game of the ACC is always an exciting one. So we'll obviously be tuned in, and make sure to tune into all of our coverage from @Duke Basketball on Twitter and DukeChronicle.com for all of our halftime observations, gamer, sidebar, all that stuff. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and guys, thanks for joining.
Anytime, man.
All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone.